Hello everyone, it's me, Coffee Stitcher. It is October 1st. Happy month of Halloween. Love Halloween. I hope everyone's doing well and had a great week. We've got some Q&A, we've got a scotch of haul. We've got the October plans, I've got some whip updates. And yeah, so we'll kind of go from there. And then a little bit of discussion of the upcoming week. So we will dive right on in. How was everybody's week? Awesome, that's excellent to hear. All right, so first with the Q&A. Helen Taylor asked, do you ever pass the stash? And I do. I will actually be taking a whole bunch of things down to the retreat, Spooked being one of them. So, and anything that if I understood correctly, anything that's on the Pass the Stash table that's left at the end of the retreat is going to be donated to a local women's shelter. So, that will be where they go. Alright, the Imperfectly Perfect Stitcher asks, what is your holy grail chart? One chart you'd love but can't find or have a hard time paying the price for? Probably... I don't really think I have a holy grail chart. Yeah, I really don't think I have one. There's not been anything that either I have wanted but couldn't get, or, I don't think there is. That's kind of a weird thought to have, that there's not really one that I'm so desperate for. Now, that said, there are things that I look at and go, oh, I like this, but I don't want to pay that kind of money for the chart. Generally, those are digital things versus actual paper charts. Or it's because it would cost so much to kit up. Like, there's a lot of Chatelaines that I really like, but I just can't afford to kit those things up. So... about how many whips can you have without getting frazzled? In terms of active whips, 10 seems to be about where I have to kind of call it quits. I do have other things that are whips that I haven't worked on that will come back out from time to time, but 10 seems to be the list. How many days do you usually stitch on something, / what is your rotation like? It depends a little on the project. I average on most things 2 to 4 days, but my rotation is based on goals. So I set a certain goal, and if I meet the goal, that's usually when I'll call it quits. Sometimes I'll call it quits earlier if I've been working on it a while, or what I did was so intense that I just need to take a break once I've reached that point. So it sort of depends, but that's kind of how I rotate. Kim G asks where she can find a Prairie Moon out of print chart that Pam is working on. I don't know specifically which one Pam is working on. I believe there is a needle shop in New Jersey that has a lot still. But that's going to be your best bet, is going to be reaching out to shops that aren't online, or don't have websites, and ask them. I know the Stitch Niche in Arlington has a fair amount of charts still. So that's going to be your best bet. At least for finding them at retail price. I'm sure eBay will have them for way more than anyone really wants to pay. Julicious asks, which mirror are you going to start? And we will be coming to that. Rafaela Galesi asks, wants to see how I use beeswax with metallic threads. Unfortunately, my waxer that I have using, I accidentally left at work. I just left that entire bag at work on Friday. But essentially what I do, I've got a waxer that I haven't started using yet, but all I do is, because I don't generally want to damage the pretty side, is I turn it over to the back side, and just like you would with Thread Heaven, press in and pull through. And then I usually go back and do the other side as well. That's really all you do. Stitching Maiden asks, how do you do 1/1 skin when the rest of a design has been done 2/2? To be honest, I don't like the look of the 1/1 skin. To me, it looks like, I like how it looks, but then I would want the rest of the design to be 1/1, and I am not insane. So, I've never done, probably will never do the 1/1. Joanne P. did say that in the Lavender and Lace group, there is a file on 1/1 and how to make it look less blocky and smooth, so that would be probably where I would direct you to look. Lori Schiccolone asks, have I ever done a sal that was from overseas? How does the conversion work? I looked into Lakeside Sal, but they only take PayPal, and I don't use PayPal. Well, the conversion, you put what it is when you buy it. Your a credit card or your bank, they'll do the actual conversion. So you don't actually have to worry about that. Generally, if it's in pounds to US dollars, generally pounds is going to be about double what the dollar rate is, because the pound is worth more. If you're going Canadian, it's going to be about 25% less, because our dollar's worth more than the Canadian dollar. Beyond that, you get into currency that I don't understand the exchange rate on, because, especially if you get into Chinese or Japanese, that whole thing where it's like 1.3, but then it's $27. I just can't figure that one out. I will say PayPal is fantastic, because if there's ever an issue, PayPal resolves it very quickly. 99.9% of the time, they resolve it in the favor of the consumer. So I highly recommend PayPal. It's about as safe as you can. But to answer your question, I did buy the Doreen Jones Under the Sea, and ended up I didn't like the way it went. So, I mean, it's cute, but it's not something I'm ever going to do. So, there you go. Let's see. That's, I think, all of the Q&A. Alright, so, we're going to talk a little bit, well, we'll do the little bit of haul. I received, and this is full disclosure here, Marita at Thread Gatherer, if you didn't see in my last video, reached out to me to ask if I would review and test a new fiber line that they've come up with, called Aurora. And it's a mixture of mohair, silk, and sparkle. I did get the names for them. Let me pull that up real quick. Okay. So, she sent me 3. She's also going to be sending me some silken colors, which I decided, instead of doing the Springtime Easter Sal from Tempting Tangles and Weeks, I'm going to do it in silken colors. So, she sent me these 3. This one is called Grassy Dew. It's a darker green with yellow. Emerald Forest is the brighter green. And Crystal Rainbow, which has blue, pink, and yellow to it, and is beautiful. Weight-wise, like I said, I think they're going to be fine on a 28 or a 32 with 1 ply. And she actually, they're 15-yard skeins. She actually did recommend bobbins for them. So I will bobbin them up shortly. These 3 are limited edition ones. They will have a full line and then some limited editions. And they're going to sell for $6 each. So that's kind of all the extra information that I didn't have yesterday. I'm super excited to start. So, there we go. Alright, next. I guess let's do some discussion of the retreat. So it's going to be me, Kate, and Katie. I know Katie is at least planning to vlog and then probably make one big video. I'm probably going to do a series of smaller videos. So, because I don't know what the Wi-Fi is going to be like there, so it's easier if they're smaller. And there will probably be a couple from the car. I think the current plan is we are going to stop off in Paris Cove to look at that LNS, and then we'll head on into the retreat. So, super excited. Looks like it's going to be a really good time. Subsequently, that does mean that Stitch Mania, y'all need to check yourselves and watch yourselves, because Katie and I are not going to be available. So, don't do anything dumb or pee in the shower or anything like that. Alright, so there's that. I will be starting a Mirabilia, and I've narrowed it down. Where did I put those? There they are. I've narrowed it down to 2. That we're still deciding on. I'm getting still figuring out. I'm either going to start Woodland Fairy, but I'm going to convert her to pinks and purples and then a blue for the sash. Or I'm going to do Portrait of Veronica, and I'll do her as is. So, haven't quite made up my mind yet. So, there's that. Alright. So, this week's whip updates. Well, I did not end up working on the Zoda Stitch Oz. So, I got as far as finishing up the biscuit square, which I think I had already done when we last spoke. So, because I realized I need to do some color converting, and I just didn't feel up to doing that. So, I've also made a decision about how I want to do the border around Dorothy and the Lion. So, you know. But yeah, it does need a smidgen of color conversion. So, and I was just feeling lazy. So instead, I worked on Longfellow's Round Tower. Alright, so I did not get the page finish as I expected I would, but I did finish everything but the border, so I'll do that this month. That's this month's goal. So there's the moon and the tree and some cute 1/1 hummingbirds and clouds. So I love working on this one so much. I can't wait to see it grow. Alright, so I worked on that. I got what I needed to frogged on Cheshire Moon and Corner of the Earth. Oop. So I am a quarter of the way done with Corner of the Earth. So there we go. Oop. Ta-da! So I think it's beautiful and I loves it. I didn't really get quite as much stitching as I wanted to in this week. Because it was my late week, I got home late, so that kind of pushes everything back, and then between American Horror Story and Will and Grace, there was more TV this week, so things did not happen quite as they normally would. And then the next part of Sizzling Summer came out, and I realized I got off a little on the start of this tent, so I'm gonna take that to work to frog and fix. But there's that. So I'll frog and fix that, and then I'll finish that up in an hour or so, later this week. Alright. So, let's go to the goals. Okay, so Wizard's goal is still Tatty Poo in the bottom. Longfellow's the page finish. I plan to get another 4 parts of Corner of the World done, as well as finishing part 9 and then doing 10 and 11 of the Summer Sow. Let's see, so then, what the hell is that? Okay, so then we've got the Stitchy Box Sow. So my goal is to do another row. Or at least start another row. Mount Olympus, we're actually going to do the mountain, or the Greek gods, we're going to do the mountain above Zeus. So Zeus is still all I've got done. I'd intended to work on it this week, but then, like I said, the last couple of days of the week, it just sort of all didn't happen. Alright, then on Vintage Birds, we're going to do, you can sort of see here, I'm going to do this part on up, and I'm going to try and do that, and then the flowers. So, and then the next month will be the 2 birds and that flower, and probably the hearts. So we're working our way up it. Probably got 2, 3, 4... Probably about 6 more months before it's done. Probably about 6 more divisions on it. So... And then Great Cheshire Moon, the goal is to get part 2 finished. So, yep. So those are kind of the goals for the month. We'll see how successful I am. And then at the retreat, I'm taking Giant Harry Potter. I'm going to finish the white, and I think I'm going to go ahead and do the black letters, because that's going to take just that little bit of time.